Hello and welcome to the Global Insight, where we update you on the latest events around the world. I'm Esther Mwachuku. Now, in the main stories making global headlines right now, we're starting off with New Zealand lifting all COVID-19 restrictions after 3 years. Jordan shoots down crystal meth-laden drone from Syria. Now, thousands of pieces of unexploded ordnance found buried in ground at Cambodian school. Also, President Bazoum to be charged with high treason. Now, New Zealand has removed the last of its remaining COVID-19 restrictions, marking the end of a government response to the pandemic that was watched closely around the world. Prime Minister Chris Hipkins noted that the requirement to wear masks in hospitals and other healthcare facilities would end at midnight, as would a requirement for people who caught the virus to isolate themselves for 7 days. New Zealand was initially praised internationally for eliminating the virus entirely after imposing nationwide lockdowns and strict border controls. But as the pandemic wore on and more infectious variants took hold, the nation's zero-tolerance approach became untenable. It eventually abandoned its elimination strategy. Now, according to state reports, a drone carrying crystal meth has been downed by Jordan's military as it flew into Jordanian territory from neighboring Syria. Petra on Sunday quoted a source within the Jordanian armed forces as saying that the drone was taking control of the downed. Now, the crystal meth was then handed over to the competent authorities. However, the Jordanian military has previously downed drones from Syria carrying narcotics or weapons, but has rarely identified seized drugs as crystal meth. Western anti-narcotics officials have stated that war-torn Syria has become a hub for a multi-billion-dollar drugs trade, with Jordan a main transit route to the oil-rich Gulf states for a Syrian-made amphetamine. Now, military and security officials from Jordan and Syria have met to discuss ways to curb the growing smuggling problem. However, despite pledges by Damascus, Jordan says it has not seen any real attempt to clamp down on the illicit trade. There was no immediate comment from Syrian authorities. However, in an interview last week, Syrian President Bashar al-Assad denied Syria's role in the drug trade, saying that ending narcotic smuggling was a common interest that Syria shares with Arab countries. Meanwhile, Cambodian authorities have temporarily closed a high school where thousands of pieces of unexploded ordnance from the country's nearly 3 decades of civil war have been unearthed. The ordnance was found at the school in the northeastern province of Crete after deminers were invited to search for buried landmines on the campus before a new building was constructed. Now, Chiang Heng, the provincial deputy chief for education, disclosed that more than 1,000 students study at Queen Cosmac High School. The site was an ammunition warehouse during the Khmer Rouge regime in the 1970s before being turned into a school, and all of the ordnance was thought to have been removed. However, from Friday through Sunday, 2,116 pieces of ordnance were collected by deminers from the Cambodian Mine Action Center. They included M79 grenades, 4 M48 shells, and ordnance for the B-40 rocket launcher. Photos posted on its Facebook page show the dead-covered items placed in a row on the school's ground. Elsewhere, Niger's military junta has announced plans to prosecute deposed President Mohamed Bazoum for high treason and undermining national security. This is the latest sign that the junta intends to resist international pressure to return power to Mr. Bazoum. He has been held in the basement of his palace since the military staged a coup about 3 weeks ago. Now, the Saturday's visit was approved amid growing international demands for Mr. Bazoum's release. But in a sign that it is hardening its position, the junta said in a statement read out live on state television that it had gathered evidence to prosecute the deposed president and his local and foreign accomplices for high treason and undermining the internal and external security of Niger. It did not give further details. Mr. Bazoum, aged 63, is being held captive with his wife and son, and there are growing concerns about their health. Meanwhile, General Abdurrahmane Tichani, the head of the Presidential Guards Unit, declared himself Niger's new ruler on the 26th of July after overthrowing him. The West African Regional Bloc ECOWAS threatened military action to reverse the coup, but it has so far failed to follow through on its threats. The coup leaders have warned they will defend themselves against any intervention. ECOWAS has also imposed sanctions on the junta, including cutting electricity to Niger. This has caused blackouts in the capital, Niamey, and other major cities. And that's all we have for you on the Global Insight today. Many thanks for staying with us. I am Esther Mwachuku. Do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Voice of the People TV. Across our other social media handles as well is at VOP TV Live. Good afternoon and thank you for staying with us.